Hi, it's Jeff at Slavens Racing. This video is about how to do basic diagnostic troubleshooting on the KTM 250-300 starting system, electric starter system. And of course that would apply to the late model Huskies and Husabergs as well. All the same engine, all the same starter system. So first of all, start at the batteries. Start at the power source. If you don't have a good battery, then you're wasting your time going any further. I get calls all the time on the electric starter system. It's probably 10, 15 times a day. And so hopefully this video will help you do your own basic diagnostics. So guys tell me, oh, I charge my battery all night long. It's just a couple of years old. I got a good battery. But when I hit the button, it doesn't do anything. Or when I hit the button, it clicks. Well, that is useless information. The only thing I want to know is how many volts are in that battery. I don't care if you charged it for a month. If it's a bad battery, then you're wasting your time. So, get out your voltmeter, put it on DC volts, check the battery. It needs to be 13 to 13.5, preferably towards the 13.5 end of that range. I know it's a 12 volt battery and 12 volts is not enough. It's got to be over 13. So start there. So you hit your electric starter button, where does the juice go from there? Well, first of all, we've got the ground cable here, and then this is the positive cable. This is the juice. So the juice goes from the positive battery terminal down to the positive terminal on the solenoid. So the solenoid is tucked. I'm sorry I'm doing this video by myself, so it's a little shaky and sketchy. The solenoid is tucked up underneath you. First you pull the air filter cover off, and the solenoid is tucked back in here. It's on the side of the battery box. It's a pain in the ass to get out, so you first remove this bolt. Then you just grab this part of the rear fender and pop it out of there. Then you can get to the solenoid. So all the solenoid is just a switch. It's a switch that's operated by an electromagnet. So when you hit the button, you're just putting juice through the electromagnet, which moves a plunger inside of the solenoid and connects the two terminals. So it connects the red cable with that terminal to the black cable. That's all it does. It just connects the two cables together when you hit the button. So if you hit the button and it clicks, well then it's working. That's what it's supposed to do. That's a totally normal sound. That's what it should be doing. If you want to double check it to make sure you don't have a solenoid problem, then you can jump these two terminals with a screwdriver. Just lay a screwdriver across there and jump them. Yeah, you'll get a spark, big deal. It cannot kill you. It's a low voltage, low amperage system. It cannot hurt you. So jump that with a screwdriver. And then when you do that, you're just bypassing the solenoid. And guys buy solenoids all the time, and don't buy them. I mean, I love to sell parts, but 99% of the time it's not a solenoid issue. Alright, so you hit the electric starter button and you get a click. Alright, so that tells you the solenoid is working. But how about if you hit the electric starter button and you get nothing? Well, if you've determined that you have a good battery, you've gone through that test, and you hit the electric starter button and you get nothing, that could be a failed solenoid, but probably not. So jump the solenoid with the screwdriver like I just mentioned. And when you jump it, you don't have to hit the button at the same time. You just jump it because you've got juice on the red cable and you're just jumping it over to the black cable. So if you jump it and your electric starter motor still does nothing, well, you've bypassed the solenoid at that point, and now that's telling me that there's this electric starter motor problem. So the cable goes on down the line, and it pops out down here. One second while I grab a tool here. So if you want to double check that, you can just use one of these little probes. One of these little deals. Looks like an ice pick with a wire hanging out the end of it. Then hit your electric starter button. You hear a click and you can see you've got juice. And that's the cable that hooks onto the electric starter motor. So that terminal connects onto this post. So if you've got enough juice, if you've determined you have a good battery, you've bypassed the solenoid or determined that the solenoid's fine, now you're down to this stage. So now you've got, that's telling me that there's a problem in the electric starter motor itself. Probably the brushes are bad, armature could be bad, but it's usually a brush issue. And so you'll need to either rebuild it or replace it. So if it's an 08 through 12, that's the old 350 watt starter motor, personally I would replace it. Those were weak to begin with. As they get older, even when you rebuild them, they still don't even come back up to their normal 100% because the magnets in them get weak, the housing gets distorted. I wouldn't waste my time on one of them, but we sell a lot of those kits. A lot of guys seem to have success with that. If it's a 13 or 14 410 watt motor, there are no rebuild parts. There are no brushes, there's no bushings, bearings, nothing available. Don't waste your time searching the internet, it's not out there. So 13, 14, you're completely shit out of luck. And you just need to buy the new, latest electric starter motor like we sell. It's a 410 watt and it does have replaceable brushes. Alright, just to review this section. Start up here, make sure you have a good healthy battery. If you don't, replace it with a good EarthX or Shirai battery, lithium. And go to here, bypass this, so that you've eliminated that. The solenoid. Yeah, there's a couple of fuses here, there's one here and here. But if you bypass this with a screwdriver, you're bypassing the whole solenoid, including the fuses. Come down here, so now you've determined you've got good strong juice coming to the starter motor, but it still doesn't want to turn over, so you've got a starter motor problem. Alright, so another problem with KTMs is, alright, your starter motor's working fine, your battery's fine, but you hit the button and all you get is a zing. It just goes zing, zing, anytime you hit the button. That means that the electric starter motor is not being connected to the engine because of the Bendix. So the Bendix is the connector. The electric starter motor where does it sit? It basically sits here and it connects to the Bendix. And if the Bendix is bad, then you just get that zinging sound because the Bendix is not engaging. Now there's no repairing Bendixes. Don't waste your time. Guys tell me, oh yeah, I soaked it in a bucket of whatever for a day or two and this and that and it still doesn't work. Well, don't waste your time with any of that crap. Bendixes are either good or they're bad. There's no gray area. There's no in between. And there's a couple areas that fail on them. One is the gear here breaks loose from the shaft, or they fail internally. Either way, you can't fix them. So don't waste your time. They've upgraded these many times over the years. They're still not great, but they have gotten better. So there's two different types of problems with electric starters. One is it's the electrical side of it, that being the battery, the solenoid, and the electric starter motor. The second part of it would be the drive system, and that is the solenoid and the rest of the gears. So there's the solenoid, the Bendix, the gear drive here, and then there's a crown wheel also, another little gear that sits in there. That's the third part of the drive system. So hopefully that helps. Just go through your basics like I just said here. You've either got the electric side of it or you've got the drive side of it. That's all for now.